All right, so I'm here with Kevin Chapman from our groups, and he's here to help us figure out exactly what we do in a grid down scenario where you're not likely to have electricity for a number of days and you're concerned about your freezing water pipe. So what was that data with the water? You said water,
What's that?
the pressure of frozen water?
Oh, 5,000, what was it? I wrote it down because I was pretty impressed.
Okay.
It's 43,511 PSI. That's how come ice can split boulders and move houses and all kinds of stuff. Your washing machine and your dishwasher actually have pumps in them. Now you can cut off the water supply, that's all well and good, but the pump is still primed and has water in it. What I'm being told is there's a non-toxic RV antifreeze. And the antifreeze can be added to a dishwasher or a washing machine. Let's say you're trying to do a really small load on your washing machine. You want to make sure your mixture is at least 50-50. But read the container, because maybe this new thing that I don't see it as being the automotive antifreeze that we all know may tell you what the ratio would be and what temperatures it'll protect to. I think most of the time it's 50 or 60% antifreeze compared to mixed with water. So what they recommend is start a small load, measure out your antifreeze, pour it into your washing machine, and then let it run for a little bit, and then set it on spin and drain. You want it to start spinning. You can hear the water coming up through your hose. Stop it. Don't let it drain all the way, because now your antifreeze mixed with your water is already in the pump. So your pump is good to go. Now you can shut off your machine. You can detach the hoses on the back of the machine and drain out them too, just to make sure there's no water in them. The dishwasher is the same way. You want to start a load of wash in here with the water, mixing your antifreeze, turn it on, let it run a little bit, because as this machine's running, it's already using the pump to pump the water up into the upper chamber. So once it starts running, you can hear it swishing around. Now you can stop it. Now it'll be protected, the pump will be protected. Most of the pumps, unfortunately, the bottom of them I've seen are plastic, and that doesn't hold as well. But I have seen metal ones left out in a summer camp. Someone forgot to drain them, and they will split open with the 43,000 pounds PSI will do it.
Oh, there it is.
That's not the code. You know.
All right, so we're starting here at the.
This is your meter.
This is where water comes into the house.
Because you live in a municipal water supply, yep. So this is your shutoff right here.
Yep.
So these don't get shut off too often.
Yep.
So don't be surprised when you go to move it that it's not easy.
Okay.
Now that's just a ball valve, which is pretty simple.
Yep.
Up, down, it'll go 90 degrees. That's
okay.
it.
So that'd be the first thing that one would do is...
Very first thing is when it start draining the house, just stop water coming in.
Right, so that stops water coming in, but it doesn't do anything about draining necessarily.
Not yet, no.
Okay, so what would be the next thing to do then?
When the power goes off, you never know when's it going to come back. If you think you're going to be gone, I would shut off the main breakers.
Okay, show us how to do that, or show us where that's done. Yeah.
Your main breakers here.
Right there, right at the top. Yep.
And this one's simpler.
Yep.
These are only 100. Yep. These are only 100 watt. That's okay.
Yep.
Just an apartment.
Yep.
So shut that off first. Then I would shut all of these. And if you're sitting there going, well, I don't know when the power's going to come back on, you could turn on something like an outdoor light.
Right.
But you probably don't have them broken down. These aren't enough. You only have a few, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You only have 5, 6, 7 dedicated.
Yeah, these aren't actually separated by apartment necessarily. So
they're not. So it's a house.
They're mixed up.
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
So
but anyway, the surge comes through. You have no idea, and neither do the guys on the line. They just turn it on. They hope for the best.
Right.
And I would unplug anything in your house that you feel is sensitive.
Right.
Your computers, your backup TV, whatever you have.
Okay.
I would unplug them.
Okay.
Just in case that surge comes through. I lost a a TV, and that's why it was 38 years ago. I haven't had a TV since.
Oh, okay.
But I only watch VCR movies on it. Anyway, it fried it. It fried my alarm clock.
Right.
I was actually charging my cell phone. It fried that too.
Right.
So they screwed up something on the outside, and by the time I was gone when it happened. I came back home and I go, what the heck's going on? So they gave me like $50.
Nice.
It wasn't replacement. Now, once all the water is shut off, John Michael, you happen to have an outdoor hose for your garden and stuff. Most houses do. I would go outside your house and open it.
Okay.
When we shut off all the water coming in, the main line cut off, when we go to open, that's the one we open. And it basically can drain almost the whole house up to that height. Whatever it is in the basement, that pipe is. Everything below that pipe has still got water in it. Okay, we're in the toilet here. The tank has to be emptied first. And this is your shutoff down here for the toilet. So you're going to shut this water off first going into the toilet. Then when you flush this, you want this to stay, the flapper to stay open longer than normal, so as much water can be out of the tank as you want to exit. I always, once again, carry my my little plastic container and a sponge. Then you can just damp up the little bit that's left, squeeze it out in here, and then pour it in a drain. The next thing you're going to do after that is you're going to go into the bowl. The bowl will still have some water in it. That's the trap. The water you're seeing is half the trap. I actually own a bilge pump that you can pump out water, but if I didn't happen to have this with me, I'd use the same sponge that I just used in the back of the tank to use it in the front. And once again, just keep doing it till almost all the water's gone, and just wring it out in here, and then once again you can pour it in the tub or something. I always would recommend, before you shut your main water off, get yourself a bucket and save some water for you, because you could always wash up after if you feel the need to clean up after you're all done with dealing with the plumbing pipes and stuff. At least you'd have some water somewhere that you could still use soap in it and clean yourself. But at some point, this water trap has water in it also. So as we drain the source pipes, these pipes still contain water in it that can freeze, and then they'll split also. They can be damaged.
And that's under your sink, right?
These are under the sinks underneath here. His is black. It's hard to see this.
Yep.
But it has a nut above and below. So the nut is attached here and here.
Okay.
So the nut screws this way down onto these threads, down onto these, same way. So when you're figuring out clockwise, counterclockwise, you look this way, and this is clockwise to tighten. So righty tighty, lefty loosey. Is that how that goes?
Yep.
I always bring a little bucket with me, because this water in the trap is actually going to be above here, because this pipe curves up and goes this way. So the water is going to be almost even with the top of this. So that much water, as you loosen it, have this underneath it, that water will spill out, and then when you slide this off, just pour out the rest. And don't forget to take a look in here, because a lot of gunk and stuff sits in here for long periods of time. Take a toothbrush. I got a bottle cleaner. I shove it in those and clean them all out. And then I set them in the sinks. And that's just to tell somebody, don't turn on the water, because the drain is right here. The other thing I would recommend is write a little card. Water shut off, no drain. But you're also going to turn off your, what do I do with my flashlight?
I think it's right there.
Oh, here it is.
Yeah.
You also want to do your shutoffs. See that blue handle right there? And then the blue handle on this side.
Yep.
So those are also going to have to be part of the process of shutting it off.
So now,
it's going to be important that once you take all the water out of the traps, it is now a air straightaway connection to the sewer lines of your leach field or your septic tank or the town main sewer pipes.
Right, right.
Any kind of gas vapors,
Okay.
if it's warmer there,
Yep.
the gas goes convex upwards, and it'll fill your house with all kinds.
Is that
of
combustible gas?
I don't know about
Can
that.
you use that for heating if you capture?
Yeah,
Is that
exactly,
methane?
Yeah, if you could put it in a pipe in a container, maybe. But it will be awful smelling. No, your house gets almost a permanent stink. You have to clean everything to get it off.
Okay.
But I just take a rag,
Right.
take like a old plastic grocery bag or something, wrap it around that too, and
Yeah.
I just stuff it in the top, and I just put a piece of tape on it. Just one,
Okay.
any kind of tape.
So that'd be in your sinks,
in your sinks,
in your toilets,
in your toilets.
and then what about your washing machine?
Same thing. You have your drain hose was right there. You
Yeah.
have that hose away.
Yeah.
That's the pipe right there.
Okay.
Just put something in to stuff it.
Right into
the
okay.
gas has no pressure.
Right, right.
It's just convecting. So
Okay.
if you have anything
Right.
that will stop it.
Okay.
I've seen a guy take an upside down, like a little small can, and just set it over the top, and that was enough to discourage it.
Right. Okay.
So I just stuff it in
Okay.
myself, just so it doesn't leak any at
Okay.
all.
So you can't roast marshmallows or anything over it with a
No, I wouldn't.
no roasting. Okay.
I wouldn't do that. You're going to get a hose. That's a hose connection
Okay.
right here.
Down at
Now,
the bottom of the water
yeah.
here. Yep.
All this is filled with water, so when you open that up and I usually carry a short hose.
Right.
You can have a longer one, but then I just would fill up a bucket. But I have a little pump that you can hook one end of the hose to one side of the pump and another hose, and then run it outside somewhere, and then you just turn it on, and as it drains down.
Is that battery powered pump or is that?
No, mine's a plug-in, but you
Okay.
probably could get a battery-powered one.
Right.
But if you have no power,
Yeah.
this can work with a bucket at a time.
Okay. So
Carry it out, but you don't want to do 60 buckets if
Right.
it's a
Right.
gallon
Yeah.
a bucket.
Yeah.
It's
That's
gonna-
full. Yeah.
It's going to take a while. But even if you had a little bit left in the bottom, we're not tipping this up on its side
Right.
to get the last inch or so. That is not what's going to ruin. But
Yep.
yes, if you have a boiler,
Yep. So this is a forced hot water boiler.
right.
Yep.
So this is, once again, these are your shutoffs, but you want to drain everything first.
Okay.
So this goes all the way upstairs, right? To the
That's
upstairs
because
heat tube.
we will have shut the other water off already, right?
Right, but this has its own
Right.
system. It has an automatic refill. There should be a valve here somewhere coming in here. That's just a flow valve. Maybe they don't have one in this one. Well, when you get it serviced, the guy usually checks the levels to see how it is. But anyway, just once again, you're going to get a bucket underneath here, and this could be another 30 gallons.
Right.
Depends on how many heating units and.
So this will drain all the heating pipes in the house.
Yep, come right down to here.
Okay. Good.
And like I said, if you only have, 25% of the pipe has a little water in it, that won't be enough. You have to have pressurized water in a pipe, and it has to be restricted at both ends.
Okay.
Then the middle freezes last, and that's where the expansion happens.
So you're basically saying don't worry about getting every last
Every little drop
Okay.
doesn't have to, because that little bit can freeze, and it's still not going to block or split the pipe. You're really trying to prevent splitting a pipe,
Right.
or splitting a joint,
Right.
like a corner thing.
Right.
So it's going to take a while.
Yeah.
You could hook up a hose to this too.
Right.
And the hose will drain out until we reach ground level outside. Then the water won't go out anymore. And then you'd have to do
Right.
the last, 5-10 gallons by yourself maybe or so.
Yep.
Or-
Yep.
So it won't be too bad,
Yeah.
but
Well, yeah, I've got 5-gallon pickle buckets, so that I could fill those up halfway and probably still
Right.
get them upstairs. Yeah.
yep. When you're going to be at that point where you're going to turn the water back on, you want to make sure all the valves are shut down now. You want to make sure your drains are back put in. But start with your bathtub. That's the valve I would open first to fill the bathtub. In case any sediments and stuff, we don't know how long the water's been sitting, did damage happen to it. Do you ever hear when they shut down and they redo the fire hydrants, they tell the tenants, run your water? Well, that's the one you should run because it doesn't have one of these filtered aerators in it where pieces of bits and stuff get stuck. Now I got to take this apart to clean it out. So do the tub or do your garden, your outdoor garden hose. That doesn't have a valve or a screen on it either. And just flush everything out. Let it run. If it's a little dirty looking, let it run till it runs clean. I think in the tub it's easier to see. but it will run, eventually should run clean. And then now go around and start opening up the other supplies, and then turn on your hot and cold water. Make sure you fill your tank. The hot water tank's got to be filled first. That's before you turn on the electricity. I wouldn't turn on the electricity unless you know where the circuit breaker is for the hot water. And the same thing to do with your boiler. Make sure the water's back in it again before it's calling for heat and it starts turning on. There's no water there. That's a problem. So in those orders of turning stuff back on, make sure you flush out the system first before you go to your dishwasher, wash machine, or your sink.
Okay.
And then go fill up your hot water tank now. Go fill up your boiler for your heat for your house.
Right.
So
Okay.
those kind of things got to happen.
And we'll have a list for people, right?
Sure.
Good.
We can make up a list. You can add it as an attachment. Is that an attachment?
Yeah. We'll stick it.
John
somewhere.
Michael, you do all the miracles you do.
We'll stick it somewhere.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Great.
These are regular pliers, which most plumbers never use. These are channel locks, and then they have a monkey wrench. Careful with the monkey wrenches.
Yep.
Sometimes they have spots on them and dots.
Okay.
So we got to be careful of those. and the other ones are pipe wrenches.
Yep.
But these are called channel locks. These are the channels, and it allows you to adjust your pliers to whatever the thickness of the pipe you need to loosen.
Okay.
If the pipe is a plastic one, like your drains are sometimes, and you think your channel won't fit, you can always close these down and use the rubber side on the other side and just grab around the pipe. It's usually enough. They're not on that tight.
Okay.
So get some. The other thing we wanted to talk about was, this is the type of insulation pipe you can go around doing exposed pipes. Any exposed pipes. This is a particular one that actually has these strips. You pull these off, and underneath each of these plastic strips is an adhesive. So after you pull these off, you push them together. That's what you want to do. You want it to be sealed like this. If this butts up against a valve, you can't get it over the valve, and then your insulation starts, that valve is not protected. If you want to do a corner, cut these at a 45, cut the other one at a 45, and then tape them. You want no air. The key thing is no moving cold air exposed to a pipe.
And this is for pipes that are going to continue to have water in them.
Continue to have water in because you're living here, but you have no heat.
Right.
So this would help protect that. And once again, you're going to need you're going to need cold air moving on an exposed pipe for at least 6 hours at mid 20 degrees. So if that isn't a concern, you don't have to be too worried. But as much as you can cover stuff, let's say you don't have this and your main water line's coming in, it's usually close to the basement floor.
Right.
You can always just take some towels, blankets or something, wrap them around them. That would be enough to keep them insulated from cold moving air. Now, if it's going to be, minus 20 for a month, everything's going to freeze. If you have no heat, eventually. But your basement, the dirt 4 feet down normally is around 50 degrees. I've seen it as high as 54. It depends, I guess, where you live and stuff. But so your basement doesn't necessarily freeze, but the first floor, absolutely. Second floor, absolutely.
Now,
If you're staying in the house during the power outage, you can open up these doors, these cabinet doors, to all your sink drains and all your water supplies to help the air in your room, which could be 40 degrees, let it get in there so that it keeps the pipes from getting cold while you want to live here during a power outage. Because on town water, you still have pressure. You'll still be able to get water, and you need it just to drip. If you think something's going to really freeze, you're looking at 6 days, about mid-20s. That means inside the house, mid-20s. Do check in your bathrooms to make sure. Most people, plumbers I know, never put plumbing on the outside wall. Usually they're always on the inside wall. But to open cabinet doors gives a little chance for the air to get in there. That's a good thing.
okay.
So.
Can you still flush in a grid down scenario?
Yes, I always save, when I had that power outage in 2008, I'd already saved 7 gallons of water. Just saved it because I can always fill up my tank, but when you're on municipal water,
Right.
the pressure exists.
Yeah, it's gone.
They don't have to run anything. It just, there's a water tank. Actually, there was 2 of them.
Okay.
Where I grew up, the one was right across the street.
Mm-hmm.
So it held, 1.1 million gallons of water or something.
Okay.
But that's just pressure without any electricity. You don't need any.
Right.
So therefore, we could always flush our toilets because the pressure runs fine.
Okay.
But if you had no heat in the house and you're worried about freezing pipes,
Yeah.
then I had my gallons of water. I can just fill up the tank and flush it whenever I need to. I can just flush it
And then would you siphon out what's left there?
Yeah, you're putting water back in the bowl again in the trap.
Yeah.
And if it's, like I said, 20 degrees in your bathroom for about 6 days in a row, that's more expensive. A lot of people forget about the toilets. When they crack and split, now you got to go get a whole new toilet.
Right.
One of the ways to have your pipes not freeze if you're under that is to make it drip. Go around to your various faucets and just have them drip. They don't have to be flowing.
Okay.
A drip once every 10 seconds,
Okay.
something like that.
Okay.
As long as the water's moving a little bit, it makes it harder for that
Harder,
pressure.
right.
The still pressurized water is what freezes fast.
Yeah, okay.
Even if it has a slight flow,
Yeah.
it doesn't seem to freeze.
Okay.
Now, the other thing is, if you know where the pipe is frozen, let's say we found a hole in a basement window that was 14 inches away from the pipe and frozen.
Right.
To thaw it, first of all, you want to block that cold air source.
Yep.
I usually use a hairdryer.
Okay.
And you want to just do it gentle and wave it back and forth,
But
at least 3 feet in each direction.
But in a grid down scenario, if you don't have electricity, you just
Well, you could try that. I mean, any other water that isn't frozen would slowly warm it up.
Yeah.
Now, my hands are actually fairly hot. I've been known to just hold on to the pipe for about 20 minutes. Now, my hands get cold a little bit, but eventually the guy upstairs says, hey, water's coming through. You solved it, But that's just being me.
Do you charge them also for the kilocalories used?
No.
Out of your heat
I
index?
It's all part of my health equation to keep me healthy, and at least I wasn't sweating. So.
I'm not sure how you put that on your business card. I hold pipes for you.
I bring my own. Make sure you wear a mask so they don't know who you are, and then the lawyers can't sue you for when I screw up.
Very good. We won't.